If you want to ask question, then only unmute. Otherwise, please mute yourself. And we can see who is not muting, so we can identify, right? So accordingly you do. Sir, please start.
Okay. Just 1 minute. হ্যাঁ তুষার, তোমরা জয়েন করছো না কেন? বলো।
अब्बा जो थे हमारे
না না, ফোন অফ নেই।
चले गए थे तो ठंडी
না, মিউট করা নেই। যাও 1 মিনিট, আমি মিউট করিনি আগে।
अबे अजीब बेवकूफी वाली बात सवाल कर रहा हूँ। ऐसा लग रहा है हिमालय में जो है बर्फ घिस दी है कि घर वाले भी ना मेरे समझते नहीं है कभी कभी। उस स्टार नहीं है, दुनिया है। तू है सोडे की बोतल, मैं बंटा तेरा, मैं तो हैंडल करूं हर घंटा तेरा। मेरे दिल के मोबाइल का तू अनलिमिटेड प्लान हो गया।
Hello, mute doing it.
Am I audible now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So please, you keep your patience, please. Now is it visible for everybody?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Good evening, good evening, my dear students and the faculty members present here. Now, I, Supriya Sarkar, Assistant Professor of Electrical Engineering Department of NIT Durgapur, am going to present the experiment on characteristics of fluorescent and compact fluorescent lamp. The fluorescent lamp is generally known as tube light, and the compact fluorescent lamp is popularly known as CFL lamp. These two lamps are very common and familiar to us because these lamps are used in our domestic houses. These lamps are also used in the industry. You can observe that sometimes fluorescent lamp do not glow when there is a low voltage. You can also experience that the fluorescent lamp which is in operation may not glow when there is a drop in voltage. So from these observations, you easily understand that at least minimum voltage is required to start the fluorescent lamp as well as to operate the fluorescent lamp. Okay, but it is our common interest that to make the lighting scheme by the fluorescent lamps which can start and operate at low voltage and at the same time to reduce the monthly electricity bill. From these perspectives, this experiment is very much relevant as well as informative also. Okay, in order to go into the details of the experiment, it is necessary to know the basic operating principle of fluorescent lamp and its characteristics. Now I explain the fundamental principle underlying the operation of fluorescent lamp. Okay, the name fluorescence means that the emission of visible light from a certain substance when the substance is subjected to electromagnetic waves of shorter wavelength, say ultraviolet rays. The figure 1 shows the spectrum of electromagnetic waves. From this figure you see that the visible spectrum is just after ultraviolet spectrum. The principle of converting ultraviolet rays into visible rays is applied to the fluorescent lamp. Okay. So these basically that is the principle of converting the ultraviolet rays into visible spectrum. That is basically the principle of the fluorescent lamp. Now I explain the operation of the fluorescent lamp with the help of the function of different components. Figure 2 shows the component of fluorescent lamp. From this figure you see that there is a phosphor coating on inside of the fluorescent lamp. There are two electrodes at the end of the fluorescent tube. Argon and mercury vapors are also kept inside the fluorescent tube. When the mercury vapor ionizes at low pressure of mercury, it emits ultraviolet rays. These ultraviolet rays excite the phosphor coating and in turn the coating emits the visible light. For the ionization of mercury vapors, high voltage across the electrodes is necessary. These high voltage actually set off strong electric field across the electrodes. So the electrons produced by electrodes accelerate very quickly due to this field and causes the ionization. Here argon gas helps indirectly in producing the electrons from the electrodes. Basically, argon gas reduces the evaporation of the electrodes, protects the electrodes from the bombardment of heavy ions, as well as it controls the mean free path or velocity of the electrons. So argon gas actually facilitate in starting of the fluorescent lamp. Okay, do you understand everybody?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Anytime you can interrupt and ask me.
Sir?
Okay. Tell me. Anytime you can interrupt and ask me.
Purpose of argon gas in the tube.
Okay, right. So the basic phenomena is the ionization of mercury vapor. Okay. So how the ionization of mercury vapor happens? When the electrons collide with the mercury atoms, then the ionization happens. Okay. So these electrons should have some sufficient speed. Isn't okay? So how the electrons get the sufficient speed? So due to the strong electric field that is produced by the high voltage across the electrodes. Isn't okay? So sufficient electrodes, free electrons are required to strike the mercury vapor. Okay? So these free electrons is produced by the electrodes. Okay? So if there is no argon gas, no gas inside, if it is vacuum, then basically the evaporation will be more. If
Argon
you
is a medium.
Yes,
Therefore-
if you keep the argon gas here, then basically it reduces the evaporation. When the gas is present there, then basically the evaporation will be reduced. Okay, and argon gas has some heavy molecular weight, so that's why it can reduces or it can protects the bombardment of heavy ions to the electrodes. Okay, as well as it also controls the mean free path of the electrons, that means velocity of the electrons. So in that way argon gas helps indirectly for producing the more electrons from the electrodes. That means it can helps to facilitate the starting of the fluorescent lamp. Is it clear to everybody?
Sir, can we use any other noble gases instead of argon?
Noble gas you can use the krypton, you can use the xenon. Okay, you can use many gases you can use, but for the argon gas, what first one is the economic cheaper. It is a cheaper
Okay.
and
Okay, sir.
and another thing is atomic weight is high. That's why it can protect the heavy ions, right? Number two. Okay, and if you use the krypton, basically by using the krypton you can reduce the power loss. So that means the rating of the power is less. But problem is that the starting voltage will be high for the use of krypton. Okay, and if you use the xenon, you can also get the many advantages. But the problem is that if you use the xenon, it actually depends on the ambient temperature. When the ambient temperature will be changed, then basically the illumination from the fluorescent lamp is also be changed. So there are several problems for the other gases. So that's why generally argon gas is used in the fluorescent lamp. So there are several
What is
advantages.
ambient temperature, sir?
What?
Sir, what is the ambient temperature?
Ambient, just surrounding temperature. Surrounding
Okay, sir.
temperature. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Sir,
Fine.
what is the function of phosphorus?
Huh? Hello.
So which thing is producing ultraviolet radiation?
There is so much variation when it
What?
comes to
Please tell
breasts
me.
and nipples in terms of their look.
I do not got your
How
point, please.
ultraviolet radiation is produced in
Okay,
this
so
setup?
already I discussed no here. So basically, when the electromagnetic waves having shorter wavelength strike some material, so these material basically absorbs it and then basically returns the visible light. So the phosphor coating is basically do these things.
Sir, why the coating is done by phosphorus?
Actually, it is not the made of phosphor. Basically, it is named as phosphor coating. So here it is calcium silicate, okay, cadmium silicate, cadmium borate.
material.
That are the material which is used as a phosphor coating. So why is it named as phosphor coating? I cannot tell now, but it is called phosphor coating and it is made of phosphor maybe, but actually the zinc silicate, cadmium borate, okay, cadmium beryllium silicate, that type of material basically used as a phosphor coating,
Sir,
and that have the
I
property
think
to absorb the ultraviolet rays and re-emit the visible light. Fine.
Instead of mercury, can any other element be present, sir?
I do not understand your question.
Instead
Please.
of instead of mercury, can any other element be present?
Okay, it may be, but the mark actually you have to produce the mercury. You have to produce the ultraviolet rays. That is the main motto. Okay, and main motto means you have to produce the electromagnetic waves of shorter wavelengths. So among the spectrum of the ultraviolet electromagnetic waves, just to see that here the ultraviolet rays is basically the shorter wavelength. Okay, and it is basically just before the visible spectrum. So it is better, or it is economic, or it is good to convert the ultraviolet rays into visible rays. It is easier. That's why it is done in the fluorescent lamp. The others
sir,
may
why?
be, the others, hello, listen me, the others may be, but generally it is good for the using of mercury vapor.
Sir, one thing, sir, can we not use any other element that can directly produce the visible rays so the phosphor coating is not required for another conversion?
So actually for that case, it is not economic and so much illumination you may not get. So what things you have to do? So that should be economic. That means the cost of the fluorescent lamp will be less so that the customers can use it, okay, easily, or easily they can buy, as well as at the same time they can get the proper illumination. So two things you have to think of. So if it is very high costly, then basically you cannot purchase and I cannot purchase, I cannot use these things. Okay, so that is not our motto. Our motto is you have to make it perfect. You have to make it by choosing the economics scenario as well as for the your purpose of illumination. So for both purposes, I think it is better.
Sir,
Okay.
the theory of fluorescent lamps and the CFL bulbs is quite same or different?
Okay, I can discuss. Just wait. Just wait. Okay, I
Okay,
can
sir.
discuss about the CFL lamp. Okay, so now first thing you can see here, the high voltage required across the electrodes at the starting condition to ionize the mercury vapor. That is the issue. Okay, so how do you get the high voltage? That is another issue. This high voltage is produced across the electrodes at the starting condition with the help of starter and choke. Okay, types of starters. One is thermal type of starter and another one is the glow type starter. Glow type starter is generally used due to efficient operation. There are two types of chokes. One is electromagnetic choke and another one is electronic choke. In figure 3a and 3b you see the glow type starter and the electromagnetic choke. Okay, so from this figure you can see that the glow type starter consists of one bimetallic strip in parallel with capacitor. Okay, and you also see that the bimetallic strip consists of one fixed contact and another one moving contact, right? And you also see that the electromagnetic choke consists of one inductor coil only. Now I show you the electrical connection of fluorescent lamp with starter and choke. Here, just you follow carefully. Here the fluorescent lamp is connected with starter, with choke and starter. Okay, here
Yes, sir.
the red wire indicates the live wire and the black wire indicates the neutral wire. When you put on the switch, the current flows from the supply through electrical choke, through cathode filament, through capacitor of the starter, through anode filament and then returns back to the supply. So now I show you the current path at the starting condition. You can follow the current path, what I discussed. So it is the current path at the starting condition. Okay. At the starting condition, the current is small, but the voltage across the capacitor is the supply voltage. Okay. At this voltage, the neon gas inside the starter is ionized and it makes a arc path in between two bimetallic strips. So the current flows through this arc path and heating is produced. As a result, the temperature increases gradually. So now I show you the current IL, voltage VC as well as the temperature in figure 6. So here you see that the current IL is very small, but the voltage VC is the supply voltage, and at the starting condition you see that the temperature increases gradually. Okay, at a certain temperature moving contact bends. At a certain temperature moving contact bends and makes a connection with the fixed contact, so there is a short circuit. At the short circuit condition, there may be high current flow through this circuit, but electrical choke act as a ballast to limit this high current to a safe value. Okay, but in this condition you see that the voltage across the capacitor drops down to 0 due to sudden short circuit.
So, sir, what is the use of starter?
I discussed first, you listen me carefully, after that you can ask question. Without listening properly, so if you ask question then you will be confused, I will be also be confused to give the answer. Okay, first listen me, total elaboration, then you ask me. Okay, try to understand. So now what I tell you, when at a particular temperature the moving contact bends and makes a connection with the fixed contact, so there is a short circuit. So at this short circuit condition there may be high current flow through this circuit, but the electrical choke act as a ballast to limit this high current to a safe value. But the voltage across the capacitor drops down to 0 due to short circuit. So this voltage actually appears across the starter. At this voltage, the neon gas does not maintain its ionization state. The neon gas returns back from its ionization state to gaseous state. So the arc path are becoming thinner and thinner. So heating produced, so the heat produced will be less. So as a result, the temperature decreases gradually at the short circuit condition. Now I show you the current IL, voltage VC as well as the temperature in figure 6 also. So here what you see, the current increases to a safe value at the short circuit condition, but the voltage across the capacitor VC drops down to 0. And you see that the temperature decreases gradually. Have you followed?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir, followed.
At a certain temperature, the moving contact again bend due to cooling. Moving contact again bend, then makes a sudden disconnection with the fixed contact. Okay, so the current decreases and consequently the high voltage across the capacitor is developed. High voltage across the capacitor developed. These high voltage also impressed across the fluorescent lamp.
Sir, I didn't get this part.
Okay,
Yes, sir. Repeat this.
Okay, listen me properly. I can tell you again. You ask question and I can tell you. Okay. So now at the moment of disconnection, the current decreases surely. Is it okay or not? Then the current passes through the capacitor only. Then basically the current
Yes,
decreases. Then the current decreases. When the current decreases, then you can get the high voltage across the capacitor. And these high voltage also impressed across the fluorescent lamp. So the gases inside the fluorescent lamp is ionized due to this high voltage. So these ionized gas makes a path for the current. So the current flows from the supply through electrical choke through ionized gases of the fluorescent lamp, then again returns back to the supply. At that time, there may be high current flow through the fluorescent lamp. Okay, but here also electrical choke limits this current to a minimum value. That means the minimum current can flow through this fluorescent lamp. So the small
Sir, one
voltage.
question I have.
What?
Sir, I have a question.
Tell me, please tell me.
Sir, what is the difference between choke and the fuse?
Choke and fuse. Fuse has what material? Some material which has the melting point less.
Tungsten.
So,
Tungsten.
Yes, sir.
okay, melting point no tungsten, nichrome. So basically, what? No, not nichrome. No, okay. So another material. So the fuse, basically the melting point is less. When current through this, high current flowing through this, basically it is melted. Okay, it is melted. But here, here you
Yes.
see that it is a bimetallic strip. It is not that material, that type of wire. So which has which melted or which melt at a high temperature. So it is basically what? It's a bimetallic strip. Isn't okay? So due to when high
Yes, sir.
temperature, then it is disconnected.
Sir,
Huh.
actually, he used to ask that since you told that choke limits the current, means
Yes.
to minimum.
Not only
So
choke
that is
limit,
why. What is the difference in that aspect of fuse and choke?
Choke limits the current and
Yes,
fuse
sir.
breaks the circuit.
hello,
Or melt.
fuse basically there is a limiting current. So when the current exceeds the limiting value, then basically high heat is produced in the fuse element and fuse element basically burn. Is it okay or not?
Yes, sir.
So
And
is that
here,
the same function is done in electrical choke
why not?
also?
Obviously not same function. So then you can use electrical choke as a fuse. It is not like that. Here the electrical
Sir,
choke.
does choke uses Faraday's law for limiting the
Hello.
current?
Okay, so you have many questions. Okay, please take patience and try to understand these things. Just few minutes I can illustrate these things, and after illustration you can ask questions. So when illustration is over, then I think you can get your own answer. Okay, and if not, then you ask questions. Isn't okay?
Okay.
Okay, so just
Okay,
to
sir.
listen me carefully. So if I do not finish, then you cannot understand properly. Okay, so try to understand. Okay, please patient. So now what I tell you. So when the gases are ionized, then the current flows from the supply through electrical choke through gases of the fluorescent lamp, then again returns back to the supply. At that time, there may be very high current flow through this, but the electrical choke here also limits this current. Okay, I tell you everything. Limit this current to a minimum value, and this minimum current causes the small voltage across the fluorescent lamp, and this small voltage also appears across the starter. So the starter does not restrike again for this small voltage due to the small voltage. So the capacitor is bypassed during the operation of the fluorescent lamp. When the fluorescent lamp is in operation, the starter is bypassed. Clear to everybody? Now you ask question.
So what do you mean by bypass? मतलब stop functioning.
Bypass. Not here. Basically, what you see that the current flows through this path only, through this fluorescent lamp. So there is no current flowing through the no current flowing through the starter. That means there are no function during the operation of the fluorescent lamp when it is operating condition. Then there is no function of the starter. It functions
Due
at
to
the
high
start.
ionization.
What?
The
Yes.
due to high ionization
Due
of
to
that.
high ionization, basically here the resistance is very small. Then basically current flows through this path only. So not in very negligible or no current is flowing through the starter. That's why I can tell you it is bypassed. Not bypassed means actually it is not opened. So basically no current flowing through this. That I want to say.
Sir, now I can ask the question that what is
Yes,
the
yes,
difference
yes.
between choke and fuse?
Choke and
Fuse, sir. Here. Fuse.
Okay, listen me. Here again, just you understand about the electrical choke. Then I come to the point of fuse. Okay, so here the electrical choke is used for producing the high voltage across the fluorescent lamp. Number one. Okay, number two, it can reduce the high current or it can maintain the minimum current. It can use to maintain the minimum current through the fluorescent lamp, or it can reduce the very high current. Okay, so that is the purpose of the capacitor. But how is it? Do you have any idea? Hello,
Sir,
do you have any
minus
idea?
LDAB.
Sir, I think we will use inductor in place of wire.
Listen me. Okay, so here actually high voltage will be required across the electrodes at the starting condition. It is near about 1000 volt. Okay, but here it is a 230 volt. So how do you get 1000 volt? That is a question. Anybody can give the answer?
Using capacitors.
Capacitor. That is
Not
resistor.
using capacitor.
This is a mutual
Hello,
induction, sir.
Listen me. It is not due to capacitor only. No, listen me. You do not know. That's why you have several questions in your mind. Listen me carefully. Listen me. Then I clear you all the answers. Okay, listen me first. So here it is 230 volt, 234, but here 1000 volt is required as the starting condition. How do you get the remainder voltage or rest of the voltage? So that is provided by the electrical choke. So when the current flows is through there, so there is a voltage drop. This voltage drop equal to what? L di by dt. Do you understand me or not?
Yes, sir.
So when the current flows in this direction, so what is the polarity of this voltage drop across electrical choke? That is plus, that is minus. Okay.
Minus.
Is it clear?
Mm.
Okay. It is clear to everybody. Now it is clear. So now what you see at the sudden disconnection, the current decreases. So that current decreases means what? So di by dt is opposite direction. Di by dt is opposite direction. It is decreasing in nature, not increasing in nature. So the polarity of the change, polarity is changed. Okay. So now here it is plus, here it is minus. So now basically what? So these voltage actually added to the supply voltage. Some noise is coming from someone.
Okay,
Hello.
sir.
Some noise is coming to someone. If I see or if I understand from which student it will be coming, then some punishable action will be taken.
All of you mute during when sir explain. All of you mute, please. When sir explaining something, at that time, all of you mute. Razif, you can mute at that time, please.
Hello, it is clear to everybody? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Now here what it is V plus L di by dt. L di by dt. So now these voltage basically around 1000 volt. That is impressed across the fluorescent lamp. So obviously the gases inside the fluorescent lamp ionizes and makes a path for the current. Is it clear to everybody? Now at the operating condition, what so? Tell me.
Okay, sir. You explain after.
হ্যালো স্যার
Tell me.
স্যার একবার স্টার্টারের ফাংশনটা বলে দেবেন আরেকবার
If I repeat again and again, that actually it will require at least 2 hours or 3 hours. So it will finish at 10 o'clock or
Sir, we did not get the complete bimetallic contact. You have explained that bimetallic.
Please silent, please.
But I don't.
All of you silent. All of you maintain silent. Sarkar sir.
Okay, fine. Tell me please.
Sir, we can explain first, then we can tell all students you keep in your mind all questions at we will give separate time for discussion.
I think it is better. Otherwise, if I attend all the questions during this lecture time, so basically minimum 2.5 hours will be required.
That's right. Okay. So please, all of you cooperate in this way. All of you note down, and sir will give you separate time. At that time, we will discuss. It is okay for all of you. Please.
Yes,
sir.
fine.
Yes,
If
sir.
we did not get one thing, then everything will not get
clear. Everything is not clear.
So at last, you note down your question in your copy or in software, whatever, and recording always with you. So at last, we will discuss all the things one by one. You can ask.
Okay, sir.
Okay, please.
Okay. So now
sir,
here you can get the high voltage across the fluorescent tube, and this high voltage is produced due to the addition of supply voltage to the voltage drop across the choke. So already I discussed about this. Okay, but at the operating condition, so what you see here, the polarity is just changing, and then this LDI by dt is basically oppose the supply voltage. By opposing the supply voltage, basically it can reduce the current or it can limit the current. Clear to everybody?
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
And someone asked questions about the starter. So say instead of starter, you can connect and disconnect manually. Have you tried in your home?
Yes, sir.
Have you tried?
Yes, sir.
And if you do not try, you can try. Suppose the starter function is not okay. So what you do? So you can open the wires from the starter and Okay, so obviously you can do in front of all the family members. Otherwise, you may get shock. So you can check it. So you can put your hand on the insulation of the wire, and what you do, and you can strike the wires and connect and disconnect, connect and disconnect. So what is basically happened by the starter, that you can do by your hand manually. Okay, so these basically these connection and disconnection, connection and disconnection, it may produced by the starter, that you can do by manually. Okay, and you can check it, the fluorescent lamp is glowing or not. Okay, then you can easily understand what is the function of starter. Is it okay to everybody or not?
Hello, sir.
Tell me.
Yes, sir.
Tell me.
Sir,
Sir,
Tell me.
স্যার আপনি বললেন যে স্টার্টারে মানে ওই কানেকশন ডিসকানেকশনের ব্যাপারটা,
এক্স্যাক্টলি
কানেকশন যখন করছি তখন তো সার্কিটটা কমপ্লিট হচ্ছে, বাট যখন ডিসকানেকশন করছি তখন তো সার্কিটটা কমপ্লিট হচ্ছে না, তাহলে লাইটটা কিভাবে জ্বলবে?
আরে বাবা, যখন কানেক্ট ডিসকানেক্ট so just you see this
question in English so that we can also.
Okay, just you see here that at the connection moment, what you see, you can get the you see that at the connection moment there is short circuit. When there is short circuit, voltage drop here. Okay, when there is a voltage drop, you can see the high current IL and the temperature decreases because it is the voltage is very less. When voltage is very less, that means what thing you can see, the neon gas or helium gas inside the starter does not maintain its ionization state. It returns back from its ionization state to gaseous state. So at this condition, what thing you see, the arc path will be becoming thinner and thinner. So when arc path is thinner and thinner, then the heating production is less. So the temperature gradually decreases. When temperature gradually decreases, what you see, the moving contact cools down, and then at a certain temperature it bends and makes a disconnection. When there is a disconnection, the current decreases. So that is the more important component. Current decreases. When the current decreases, then the di by dt is in opposite polarity, in opposite direction. Then you can get this. Then basically you can get the high voltage. Very fine, very easy. Okay.
Sir, sometimes we see that the fluorescent lamp is taking some time to glow. So what's the reason behind it?
There are many reasons. Suppose the gases are not properly ionized, number one, and otherwise the starter and the choke does not function properly. So due to aging or due to some problem, there are many problems, not only one problem. Generally you can think of, so if you see the black spot on the black spot at the edge of the tube light, then you can easily understand there is some problem in the fluorescent tube itself. Okay, so you can replace the fluorescent tube. So there are many. Otherwise you see that the starter is blinking but it does not properly strike. So you can also check that the starter is okay or not. If it is not okay, then you can replace the starter. So starter is very less cost. Starter very less cost. It is near about 10 to 12 rupees. So you can replace it and check it. And then if it is not okay, then you can go for the choke. Choke is costly, then you can go for the choke. If choke is not functioning properly, then it may also. So after that you can also go for the choke. Okay, so there are many reasons. So one by one you have to check.
Sir, reason of instantaneous increase in VC in later stage and then decrease.
So basically the VC is not instantaneous increase. So the VC curve is like that. Here actual VC increasing. Okay, so now when it is actually, so in that way, just what you see that, so if the time is very less, then basically you can think of it is sharply increasing, but the VC does not increase instantly. It is increasing in that way. Okay.
And why, sir? Is it so? Because of neon gas ionization?
No. So just you see the capacitor. Okay, and if you know the property of the capacitor, okay, in your theoretical class the concerned teacher will discuss about the voltage development across the capacitor. Okay. So at that time you can easily understand. Now you understand that the voltage across the capacitor does not rise instantly. Okay, it is in the exponential manner.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now when the time is less, then you can get the sharp voltage increase. Then it is shown here, but it is not like that. When time is very small, then you can get the sharp voltage increase. Okay. Here I assume that very small time it is increasing. That's why I can show here it is just instant change or instant rising. Okay, that is okay for everybody. Now already 9. Yes, now already 9. How do I finish all the experiments? So very difficult. Okay, so very difficult. So from this discussion, what you understand, the high voltage will be required across the fluorescent lamp. Okay, so that high voltage is basically produced due to the addition of supply voltage to the voltage drop across the choke. Okay, so at least minimum supply voltage is required, at least, just 1 minute, at least minimum supply voltage is required to produce the high voltage around 1000 volt. These minimum supply voltage is called starting voltage or striking voltage. It is called starting voltage or striking voltage. For the electromagnetic choke, it is around 180 volt. Sometimes you can see 170, sometimes you can see 180. In the experimental point of view, I can tell it is around 170 to 180 volts. Okay, is it clear to everybody?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So
Yes, sir.
now I
Yes, sir.
okay. You also understand that during the operation of the fluorescent lamp, there are losses. The main losses occurs in the electrical choke as well as in the fluorescent tube itself. There are gases, so obviously there is some resistance, and when the current passes through them, then losses occurred. Okay, so there is a resistance in the electrical choke. So when current is flowing through the choke, then I square loss occurred. So due to the I square loss, the power factor of the electromagnetic choke is very poor. Now I show you the range of the power factor of the electromagnetic choke. Here you see the electromagnetic choke made by Shurjo. The power factor of this electromagnetic choke is 0.50. It is very less. Okay, do you understand me or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, in your theoretical class, the concerned teacher just clarify about the power factor. So power factor is equal to the active power by apparent power. Okay, apparent power means total power, active power means the which is in actual operation. Okay, so now see that it is 0.5. That means the half of the total power is actually in operation. So basically it is very less. Okay, so you have to improve this power factor. It is required. As well as you have to reduce the starting voltage. So for reducing the starting voltage or improving the power factor, nowadays electronic choke is used. Okay, now I explain the function of the electronic choke with block diagram. Okay, here you see the block diagram of the electronic choke. The first block is the EMI filter that is used to eliminate the electromagnetic interference. The second block is rectifier that is used to rectify AC voltage to DC voltage. Third block is DC filters that is used to filter the DC voltage impurities, and the fourth block is the inverter block, that is the main block. In this inverter block, the high frequency transistors are there. Okay, so the output of the inverter is the high frequency current. The fifth block is the control circuit block. Here the feedback from the inverter is coming to the control circuit block, as well as the DC input is coming from the rectifier block, and both these feedback from the inverter as well as DC input from the rectifier, control signal is developed. This control signal is applied to the inverter for proper operation. Some electronic choke has no fifth block, that means control circuit block. However, the main function of the electronic choke is to produce the high frequency current. So the starting voltage will be less, as well as the loss occurred in the electronic choke is also be less. When the loss is less, then obviously power factor will be improved. Okay, so now I show you the power factor of the electronic choke. Here you see the electronic choke made by Philips, and just you follow it. You see that the power factor is here 0.90. So earlier it was 0.50. It is, tell me please.
No, so just I was saying it's 0.5, 0.9.
Yes. So earlier it was 0.50 for electromagnetic choke. Now you can see 0.90 for Philips electronic choke here. So it is around 0.9. Okay.
Sir, what is the use of more power factor, sir?
What I tell you. What is the definition of power factor? Power factor equal to active power by, so suppose 0.9, so 0.9 into apparent power equal to active power. So active power is more when the power factor is more improved. Okay, It is clear. Okay,
Yes, sir, it is clear.
it is not the time to clarify all the things. So that things is in your syllabus. The concerned teacher discuss everything in detail. So at the time of your theoretical
sir.
class. Okay. So just try to understand what is it and why is it required in the experiment. Okay. So now I can show you the Crompton electronic choke rating, and here you see that the starting voltage is 120 volt. Okay. So it is much less than the starting voltage of electromagnetic choke. Already I told you the starting voltage for the electromagnetic choke is 180 volt. Okay. Is it clear to everybody?
Yes, sir.
Now I
Yes, sir.
showed you the electrical connection of the fluorescent lamp with electronic choke. Here what you see in the electronic choke, there are 2 inputs and 4 outputs. The 2 inputs are connected to the supply and 4 outputs are connected to the 2 electrodes of the fluorescent tube. Here the connection is different from the connection of fluorescent lamp with electromagnetic choke. Okay. Now I discuss about the CFL lamp. The operation of the CFL lamp is very similar to the operation of fluorescent lamp with electronic choke. But you see the construction here. The construction is given, is shown in figure 12. According to the construction, you can tell this construction of CFL lamp is very similar to the incandescent lamp, because the CFL lamp can use with the existing holder. Okay, that is the advantage. And here you see that the electronic ballast is placed in the ballast housing, and you also see that the fluorescent lamp is made in spiral shape. For some CFL lamp you can see it is made in U shape. Whatever it is, the loss for the CFL lamp is also less, and it is less than the loss occurred in electromagnetic choke. Here the starting voltage is also less than the starting voltage of electromagnetic choke. Okay, now I show you the power factor of the CFL lamp. Here the power factor for infrared CFL lamp is here 0.85.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so from this discussion what you understand that one, the starting voltage and extinguishing voltages for the fluorescent lamp with electromagnetic choke is higher for the same for electronic choke, and it is also less for the CFL lamp. For the fluorescent lamp with electromagnetic choke, loss is more, that's why power factor is poor. But for the fluorescent lamp with electronic choke as well as for the CFL lamp, loss is less, so the power factor is improved. So from this discussion, you set the objectives of these experiments. So now the objectives are written here. So the objectives are to study the starting method of fluorescent lamp. How do you start the fluorescent lamp? You have to study in your through your experiment. Next, to find the minimum striking and extinguishing voltages for the fluorescent lamp with different types of chokes. What is extinguishing voltages? Already I told at the beginning, the fluorescent lamp which is in operation sometime may not glow when there is a drop in voltage. So what is this? So suppose the fluorescent lamp is in operating condition, and you can see due to some reason the voltage decreased or voltage dropped, and you see that at a certain voltage the fluorescent lamp glows off. So you have to note down that voltage where the lamp glows off. This voltage is basically extinguishing voltage, and this extinguishing voltage for the fluorescent lamp with electromagnetic choke is different from the same for the electronic choke. Do you understand me or not? So now you have to observe the starting voltage as well as extinguishing voltages. Is it clear to everybody or not?
So what is extinguishing
Yes, sir.
voltage?
Already I told you now. Suppose your domestic voltage is how much? 220 volt. At 220 volt, so it is operating. Isn't okay? So now due to any reason there is a low voltage, so voltage slightly drops down. So now you can see that. So the fluorescent lamp is glowing in dimming condition, but at a certain voltage you can see the lamp is glowing off. So that voltage is basically known as extinguishing voltage for the fluorescent lamp.
Or
Understand me or not?
starting voltage?
No, starting voltage means suppose you increase the voltage. When you increase the voltage at a certain voltage, the lamp glows. That is called starting voltage. And when the bulb is already operating condition, and you can see that there is a low voltage or there is a drop in voltage, for that case at a certain voltage the lamp glows off. It is already glowing, but at a voltage,
Okay, sir.
some voltage the glows off.
I got it.
That is called is extinguishing voltage. Okay.
Sir, starting and starting
Okay,
voltage
sir.
is the
Thank you.
same.
Starting, please tell me.
Sir, the minimum striking and the starting voltages are same, no?
Exactly. Striking voltage and starting voltage is same. Okay. It is
Okay,
clear to everybody? Okay. So now already 9:10. Okay. So at least 10 p.m. will be required. Can you allow me to explain these things up to 10 p.m.?
Yes, sir.
Everybody?
Sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
No, sir.
No,
Okay.
sir.
Sir,
Okay.
we have done,
Just
sir.
no, sir.
can I take
No,
one?
No,
sir.
sir. Not possible
No,
to
sir.
Hello.
discuss.
No, sir.
We have
Can I?
done,
We need
sir.
to.
We have
No,
done,
sir.
sir.
No.
No, sir. Sir, we have too many classes today, sir.
Okay,
Yes,
too many
sir.
classes. That's okay. Okay. Hello, listen me.
At
So
7:30
hey, hello, please listen me. Hey, please listen me. I can give you 2 minutes break now. 2 minutes break only. So after 2 minutes, I can start the experimental conception and theory. Okay. So just 2 minutes break. After just 2 minutes break, then I continue up to 9:30 to 15 to 10. So if you allow me. Okay, sir. Okay, fine. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, I can give you break for 2 minutes. So please.
Sir, so we will leave now and again
No,
join
no,
after
no,
2 minutes.
no. Just you can join, and then okay, fine. You can take rest, or you can take some snacks, or take the water. Fine, and after that
No,
you
only
can
2 minutes, sir.
only 2 minutes, not more than 2 minutes. Okay, okay. Just I can take
How is
also.
that?
I can bring on. Hey, hello, please do it, and then I start.
বলো इसके बाद तो नहीं है मैंने कब कहा उसके बाद आपने इसकी तरफ इशारा किया अरे क्योंकि उसने भी मुझसे लाइटर मांगा था ना तो अगर इसने भी लाइटर मांगा था आपने इसकी तरफ इशारा क्यों किया
So students, can I start now? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now is it visible for everybody?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So according to the objectives, we have to clarify. Okay, through our experiments. So first, I start with the experiment of characteristics of fluorescent and compact fluorescent lamp with electromagnetic choke. There are two types of electromagnetic choke I use in the experiment. One is aluminium choke and another one is copper choke. So for first case, I use the aluminium choke. Fine. Here you see the circuit diagram of the fluorescent lamp with electromagnetic choke, that means here aluminium choke. This circuit diagram is very similar to the circuit diagram of figure 4 here. Figure 4. So this circuit diagram and that circuit diagram is same here, same. Okay. Only difference is that some indicating instruments, say ammeters, voltmeters, wattmeters are there, as well as variac is there. But in the previous diagram, it was not there. Is it okay to everybody? These ammeter, voltmeter, wattmeter are called the indicating instruments. There are two types of indicating instruments. One is MI type of indicating instruments and another one is MC type of indicating instruments. MI type of indicating instruments are used to measure the AC quantity. Hello, some noise is coming from someone. So there are two types of instruments. One is MI type and another one is the MC type. MI is used for measuring the AC quantity. That's why all the instruments are here MI type. Okay. One important thing is that to choose the rating of the indicating instruments. That is very important. Okay. So that thing is necessary for starting the experiment. So how do you choose the rating of the instrument? Now I can discuss. Okay. First you see the actual figure of the instruments. It is a wattmeter and here it is the variac, or it is called autotransformer. Here it is the schematic diagram of the autotransformer, and here it is the actual diagram of the autotransformer or variac, and it is the inside of the autotransformer, and here also the schematic diagram of the autotransformer. Okay. Now you see the ammeters, multimeters and voltmeters. Here multimeter is used for multi-purposes. It is used for measuring the AC current, AC voltage, DC current, DC voltage, resistance, capacitance. So it is used for multi-purposes. And now I show you the rating. So just you see the rating. Here the variac. Here the operating voltage is 0 to 230 volts and the standard output voltage is 0 to 270 volts. Input 230, 0 to 230, but here output is 0 to 270 volt. Operating frequency 50 to 60 hertz and rated capacity 1 kVA. Okay. So now what you see here input voltage is 230 volt and output voltage vary from 0 to 270. Just you see the auto transformer or variac. Here you can see it is a single winding transformer, and the one side of the winding is connected to the supply and other side there is a tapping. By changing the tapping you can change the turns and accordingly you can change the voltage. Okay, is it clear to everybody? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so by changing the voltage you can impress several voltage to the circuits. So now I discuss about the ammeters. So first ammeter is what? 0 to 1 to 2 ampere or 0 to 0.5 to 1 ampere. So either of these ammeter rating you can use for a particular ammeter. So this ammeter basically is used here in series with the choke. So to find out the rating, you have to know the rating of the fluorescent lamp. Say the rating of the fluorescent lamp is 40 watt, 110 volt. So how do you get the current? Current equal to wattage by voltage. Okay, so by using this formula, so you can get the current that is near about 368 milliampere like that. Okay, so you can connect the ammeter such that it can easily measure that type of current. So you can use this rating of the ammeter. Okay, no. So this one. So this 0 to 500 milliampere is used here in series with the choke. Do you understand me or not? So these ammeter rating will be
inside the choke.
Not inside the choke. It is connected in series with the choke. In series with the choke. Okay. So now you can follow it. So if you have a choke in your house, just you see, just keep it in front of you and you see that on the choke the diagram is provided. So everybody, so if you have the choke in your home, so you can keep it now in front of you and you see the diagram. Okay, and you can easily understand. Okay, so here the ammeter is connected with the choke and the rating is near about 0 to 0.5, 0 to 500 milliampere. You can use 0 to 2 ampere. Okay, these ammeter can also measure the 500 milliampere or 368 milliampere, but precision will be less. So that's why you can use 0 to 500 milliampere. Okay, so now you have to find out the rating of the ammeter. So obviously you have to know the rating of the starter. So now you see the starter rating. Here you see that the starter rating is 4 to 80 watt and the voltage is 220 to 240 volt. So voltage is known, voltage is known, so you can easily find out the current that flows through the starter. It is within 0.5 ampere. Okay, that's why the second ammeter of rating either 0 to 1 to 2 ampere or 0 to 0.5 to 1 ampere can use with the with series of the starter. So these ammeter. Okay, is it clear to everybody? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Now voltmeter. Here use 0 to 150 to 300 volt. So these voltmeter you can use across the variac. Already I told the output voltage of variac is 0 to 270. So obviously you have to put the voltmeter so that it can measure the output voltage of the variac, right? And another voltmeter. Already I told during operation minimum current is flowing through the fluorescent lamp. So small voltage will be developed across the fluorescent lamp. So the voltmeter across the fluorescent lamp will be such that it can measure this type of small voltage. So that's why the rating of the voltmeter across the fluorescent lamp will be less. That voltmeter is actually here 0 to 75 to 150 volt. That is clear to everybody?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now you see the wattmeter. It is the schematic. It is the diagram of the wattmeter, and it is the actual figure of the wattmeter. There are two coils. One is current coil and another one is the potential coil or voltage coil. Current coil has less turns. Potential coil has more turns. The current coil is made of 1 minute. Is made of thick wire. Is made of thick wire so that resistance will be less, so the current easily passes through. Okay, and here the potential coil or voltage coil have many turns and it is made of fine wire so that its resistance is very high. Okay, and here you see the four terminals M, L, C and V. M indicates the main of the supply, L indicates load of the L terminal of the load. Okay, and V represents the voltage and C represents the common terminal of current coil and potential coil. Generally M and C is not connected internally. You have to connect these two terminals externally by small wire. Okay, is it clear to everybody?
Sir, is that potential coil is known as pressure coil also?
Yes. Yes.
So what M and L stands for?
M stands for main of supply, L for load, V for voltage, C for common of current coil and voltage coil.
Okay, sir.
Or pressure coil. Is it okay for everybody?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So now you see the actual figure of wattmeter. What you see here, M is there, L is there. It is visible to you?
Yes, sir.
M is there, L is there, COM is there, and also you see there is a B1, B2 terminal. Okay, and within B1, B2 terminal, two metal strips are connected. Behind the B1 there is a E1, behind the B2 there is a E2. You can you can dismantle these metal strips and you may connect within B1, E1, B2, E2. When the two metal strips are connected within B1, B2, then the current coils, two current coils are connected in series, and when they are connected in between B1, E1 and B2, E2, the two current coils will be in parallel. Do you understand me or not?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And connected to E1, E2?
Behind B1 there is a E1, behind B2 there is a E2, and there are two metal strips. Please tell me quick.
If the metal strip is connected with E1 and E2, then
E1, E2 actually it is not like that. So basically you cannot connect within E1, E2. The arrangement is like that. You cannot connect E1, E2. So okay, fine. The current coil has connected the points of E1 and E2. Then obviously the two current coils are connected in series. Whatever I told about the B1, B2. So generally the current coils terminals are connected in such a way that when you connect the B1, B2, B2 by metal strips, then only current coils are connected in series. And there is no provision for the general wattmeter to connect within E1, E2. So basically it is okay. You can dismantle the strips and you can connect E1 E2. I think there is no connection with E1 E2. So if you go for the connection E1 E2 by the two metal strips, I think in that case there is no series connection of the current coils. So according to the general design of the wattmeter, I cannot try to I do not try for connecting E1 E2 by the two metal strips, but I think it may not be. Okay.
Sir, we know the terminology for L, M, and
So basically,
what does that B and E means?
Huh? What?
What does that B and E stands for?
B stands for what? I do not know here. B2 stands for I do not know. But what I know, when it is within B1, B2, then basically current coils are connected in series. That thing I can tell you. What stands for B1? What
Sir,
stands
what
for
is the
B2?
use of this wattmeter to measure power factor?
To measure power. To measure active power, real power. Okay. So now I can discuss about everything. First, I show you the rating of the wattmeter. So now the wattmeter is rated in terms of voltage and current. Here you see that 0, 75, 150 to 300 volt, and here 0 to 1 to 2 ampere. Okay. So here what I told already, when it is within B1 B current, when the metal strips are within B1 B2, then the current coils are connected in series. So only 1 ampere current is flowing, and when the metal strips are connected within B1 E1 and B2 E2, then the 2 ampere current is flowing. Okay. Now here you see the 3 voltage terminals. Here say it is 75, here it is 150 volt, here it is 300 volt. So there is a coil within COM and 75, COM and 150, and COM and 300. Okay. So now you see the now you have to know the multiplying factor to get the actual reading of the wattmeter. Okay. So now you can think of the metal strips are connected within B1 B2. That means the current 1 ampere is flowing through this circuit. Okay. And now you can connect the voltage terminals at 75 volt. That means it is connected within COM and 75. So here its voltage is the minimum, here current is the minimum. Okay. And you can get the wattmeter reading 40 watt. Okay. Is it okay or not? Hello. Do you understand me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So now it is 1 ampere. Yes, sir. 75 volt. Then basically you can see the rating is, so the reading is say 40 watt. Okay. And the scale of the wattmeter is calibrated according to the minimum current and minimum voltage. So that's why what you get the reading from the wattmeter, that is the actual reading. So here the multiplying factor is 1. So the reading into multiplying factor is the actual reading. Okay, that means here reading is here 40 watt, multiplying factor is 1, then you can get the 40 watt, that is the actual reading. Now you can connect within COM and 150. So the multiplying factor is 2. So here you can get the 20 watt. So 20 watt you can get. So the actual reading is 20 into multiplying factor, that means 20 into 2, that is equal to 40. Okay. So now you can connect COM and 300. So here multiplying factor is 4. Okay. So now you can get here 10 watt. So 10 into 4, that is 40 watt. So whatever connection is made, the actual reading by the wattmeter is same for every cases. Is it okay to everybody or not? So according to the current and according to the voltage, you can understand what is the multiplying factor. That multiplying factor is written on the nameplate of the wattmeter. So you can easily understand what is the multiplying factor, and according to these, you can easily understand what is the actual power that is consumed by the circuit.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So now by wattmeter you can understand the wattage. Then by wattmeter, by ammeter you can know the current, and by voltmeter you can know the voltage. Okay. So then I explain how do you perform your experiments. So that is also very important.
Sir, I want to ask questions.
Okay, please.
What is the role of ammeter reading in measuring wattmeter? Just you said we connect with 300 volt and multiply.
Okay. Listen me. So here there are two coils. Here are two coils. One is current coil and is potential coil or pressure coil, right? So that's why you have to make the rating of the wattmeter in terms of the current in the current coil and in terms of voltage of the pressure coil. That's why it is rated in voltage and current. That is your question? Or another?
Say, what is the role of current if we connect with 1 ampere and if we connect with 2 ampere? Then what is the difference in multiplying factor?
Okay, what thing is that? So actually when the current is flowing through the current coil and the pressure coil, the flux is produced. So due to the interaction of the flux, torque is produced. Okay? Is it okay or not? torque is produced. So now when the current is increasing, then the torque amount is also be increasing. So due to the torque, the pointer will be deflected more. Is it okay or not?
Yes, sir.
So from this aspect, so basically the multiplying factor is coming in the picture.
Okay, sir.
Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now you have to know the procedure to perform your experiments. So here you see that. So first you have to know the rating of the fluorescent lamp. So it is say 220 volt or 230 volt or 220 volt, say 220 volt 40 watt. Okay. Or is it okay or not? Or it is 40 watt 110 volt like that. Okay, 40 watt 110 volt like that. Okay. So at least you have to give the 110 volt for the operation of the fluorescent lamp. At least it is the minimum voltage that is required for the fluorescent lamp. Okay. Is it clear to everybody?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Yes, sir.
So now,
Yes, sir.
how do you start your experiment? So first, what you do, you keep the jockey position at 0. Then you put on the switch. Then you put on the switch. Then you put on the switch. Okay. Here you make the switch on, but there is no voltage across the circuit because the jockey position is at 0. Okay. Why is it? If you start the jockey position at any voltage, either it is full voltage or at any intermediate position of the voltage, then what you understand or what you see. So if you put on the switch, so the voltage according to the jockey position is impressed across the full circuits. So you can switch on, and according to the voltage, the deflecting instruments deflect accordingly. Okay. So that is okay. But in this case, there is any fault or short circuit or misconnection or wrong connection, then what you see? For this small voltage, you can see sudden deflection of the voltmeter, ammeter, wattmeter. Okay, or that means the huge current may flow through these instruments. So for that, some instruments may burn. So that is not the desired thing. That's why what you do, you keep the jockey position at 0, then you put on the switch. That means you can give the 0 voltage to the circuits, and then what you do, slightly increase the jockey, slightly increase the voltage by increasing the jockey position, and then you check the deflection of the indicating instruments. If you see there is no sudden deflection, there is no sudden huge deflection, then you can easily understand there is no short circuit or wrong connection in the circuit. So that is okay. So after getting this steady current at a small voltage, then what you do, you can increase the voltage. Slowly increase the voltage by the variac. Okay. Is it clear to everybody?
Okay, sir.
Yes, sir.
So now when you increase you increase the voltage slowly, then what you see, you can see the reading of this voltmeter only. You can see the reading of this voltmeter because it is connected across the variac. Here what you see, in the wattmeter you can see little deflection or no deflection. Why is it? At the starting condition, the current is very small. Already I show you.
Sir, one request, sir. Please use highlighter, sir.
Okay. So already I show you at the starting condition, current is very small. So that current is flowing through the circuit. So that's why, so the deflection of the wattmeter is very less, or sometimes you cannot follow the deflection. Okay. And what thing you can observe? So there is no current through the fluorescent lamp at the starting condition. So you cannot see the any deflection in the voltmeter. Okay. So basically the current flowing through the starter. So very negligible current can going through the starter. And if it has the higher rating of ammeter, 0 to 1 to 2 ammeter, so the deflection of the ammeter is also very less. You can observe. Okay. But here you use the 0 to 500 milliampere. So at the starting condition, you can also follow the some deflection in this ammeter. So here you can follow the deflection. Here you can follow the deflection. Okay. But here you can see or may not see. Okay. And here also you can see or may not see. for the very low voltage. Now what you do? You can increase the voltage slowly. Okay. And what you see at a particular voltage, what happens? There is a huge current flowing through this. Then you can see the abrupt increase of current in the ammeter which is connected to the starter. You can also follow there is abrupt deflection in the wattmeter also. Okay, so here you can see abrupt deflection, and some deflection you can also follow V, but it is very less. But basically you can follow the abrupt deflection in the ammeter which is connected with the starter, as well as you can follow in the wattmeter also. Okay,
So not in the emitter with connected with choke.
so here you can see also, but here you can see also. But what thing you see that? So it is the lower rating. It is 0 to 500 milliampere. So basically what happens for a few moment? So basically the deflection, that means the pointer of this emitter just comes to the maximum position. Just comes to the
Right
maximum
side
position.
of the. Okay.
Yes, when
I
it
got
comes to the maximum position, then it returns back to the normal position. Okay. So here what
Yes,
you
sir.
see? So here also you can, here basically earlier you can see the deflection in this ammeter, but here you can see some deflection or no deflection. Here also very small deflection or no deflection. But when you reach the particular voltage, then you see sudden deflection at this ammeter, sudden deflection at this wattmeter. Okay, but here also you can follow. But what thing you follow? So basically the pointer just touches the maximum position. Okay, so but here you can see the flickering. You can see the flickering of the pointer. Is it okay to everybody?
Yes,
Hello?
sir.
So now what
Yes,
does
sir.
it mean? What does it mean? It means that the ionization process has started. Just started in the flow cell lamp. Just started. So obviously, so during the starting condition, the ionization is started. So at the time of ionization, so that thing you can observe. The fluctuation of the indicating instruments you can observe. Okay, but you cannot see the steady reflection of these indicating instruments. Then what you do? Slightly increase the voltage. Slightly. After the slightly increase the voltage, then you see that all the indicating instruments has steady reading. Okay. Is it clear to everybody?
Yes, sir.
So now you can get the steady reading for all the indicating instruments, and you note down the voltage, supply voltage. That is denoted by this voltmeter. Okay, so that voltage is the basically striking voltage or starting voltage. At this voltage, the fluorescent lamp is started. Okay. Is it clear to everybody?
Yes, sir.
So at that, so it is near about 180 volt for the aluminum choke. Okay, for the aluminum choke, it is near about 180 volt. Okay, so at 180 volt, you can record all the readings of indicating instruments. Next, what you do? You can increase the voltage slowly and gradually to up to rated voltage. If it is 230 volt, you can go up to 230 volt. If it is 220 volt rated voltage, then you have to go to 220 volts. So basically, the rated voltage across the fluorescent lamp is 110 volt. Okay, so what you see? So if you increase the voltage, then you can get the voltage at this voltmeter. Say it is 230 volt. Okay, but here you can get only 100 volt. So you cannot achieve the 110 volts. So ultimately you have to achieve the rated voltage of the fluorescent lamp. Is it okay? So the fluorescent lamp is rated at voltage and wattage. So it is 100 volts. So you have to achieve 100 volt. That is basically getting by this voltmeter. Is it clear to everybody? Every indicating instruments or everything,
Yes,
every instruments, not only instruments, every mankind also give some better performance at a particular condition. That means the rated conditions. So here you have to observe the fluorescent lamp characteristics. So that's why you have to give the rated condition to the fluorescent lamp. What is rated? That condition you have to provide anyway. Is it clear to everybody?
Yes,
Is
sir.
it clear or not? So
Yes,
by
sir.
Yes.
changing the voltage, you have to give the rated voltage across the fluorescent lamp. Okay. So now at a regular interval of voltage, you have to observe all the readings and you have to note down. Clear or not? Is it clear or not?
Yes, sir.
So now you have to note
Yes, sir.
down. So
Sir,
at
one
a,
doubt Sir, in rating the voltage, we have to note at the striking potential and other
No,
potential.
no, no. Rating of the fluorescent lamp is the voltage that is required at the operating condition.
No, sir. I'm asking about noting down the readings of the.
Striking voltage. At what voltage it strikes? At what supply voltage it strikes? You have to note down this. This is the striking voltage. Is it clear to everybody? Already I told no. Supply voltage plus LDI by dt equal to here about 1000 volt. So the supply voltage is called here the striking voltage or starting voltage. Clear? Hey, quickly tell me. Already 9:30. Okay, so I have to finish within 10. Please. Okay. So now you can note down the striking voltage or starting voltage. Now from the starting voltage you go up to the rated voltage by varying the variac slowly and gradually. At regular interval of voltage you note down all the readings and you record it. And you can just write all the reading on the table. Clear? Okay,
yes,
is it clear now? Now what you do, from the rated voltage you can decrease the voltage by variac slowly and gradually. Okay, at each regular interval of voltage you also note down all the readings and make a table for the results, right? Now what you notice, when you decreasing the voltage slowly and gradually, at a particular voltage you can see the lamp glows off. So you have to note down that particular voltage. If you do not get the reading of striking voltage as well as extinguishing voltage for the performing the experiment one time, then you can do at least twice or thrice for getting the striking voltage as well as extinguishing voltage. For the aluminum choke, what I observed the extinguishing voltage that is near about 150 volt. 140 to 150 volt is the extinguishing voltage for the fluorescent lamp with aluminum choke. That thing I can observe. Sometimes it come 140, sometimes it may come 146, sometimes it may come 150, like that. Okay, so obviously there is some error for the instrument, for the there is some error for the instruments. Okay, so all the time you cannot get the same reading. Okay, then you have to do twice or thrice, then you can easily understand what is the range of the extinguishing voltage. Then you can easily understand that what is the range of the striking voltage or extinguishing voltage. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and here the wattmeter records the wattage. That means by this wattage you understand how much losses are there. Okay. So according to the experiment, so already I discussed the procedure. How do you perform your experiments? Then you have to put the results in a table. So here I put here the results. 180 volt is the striking voltage, 150 volt is the extinguishing voltage, and you have to note down the deflection of current that is flowing to the starter, and also you have to note down the deflection of the ammeter that is connected with the starter. That means you have to note down the ammeter reading which is connected in series with the starter. So what I told you, so slowly you increase the voltage, then what you see, some deflection you may get in this ammeter, as well as you can also see this deflection in this ammeter. So before striking, what is the maximum current you have to note down, and when it is striking, that means when the fluorescent lamp glows, then basically this ammeter reading should be 0. That means it returns back to the 0 position. Then obviously you can note down the ammeter reading. So before striking it is 0.4 ampere, and after striking it is 0 ampere. Hello, is it clear to everybody?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So
Yes, sir.
here 180 is the striking voltage. Now you increase the voltage from 180 to 230 volt. Then you can record all the readings. So basically I cannot put all the readings. Here I can put the readings for the 200 applied voltage and 220 applied voltage. Then you can easily understand here what's the power factor, what's the resistance, everything you can understand. Just what you see here, the lamp voltage is 116, line current is 300 ampere, here power input is 30 watt. Then you have to find out the power factor. Okay, so now how do you find out the power factor? Here power factor equal to power input divided by applied voltage into line current. Okay, so basically V into I into cos phi equal to W. So cos phi equal to P by Vi. So from this equation, I can find out the power factor. So here it is coming 0.498. It is near 0.5. Okay. Now you have to find out the resistance of the lamp. So you have to find out the resistance of the lamp. Okay. So how do you get? So you can get by getting the lamp voltage and the current. So lamp voltage it is 116 volt, and the
Sir,
current. Tell me.
Sir, power factor should be output by input. So why it is input by output in the equation?
No. Here.
Yes, sir. It should be output like applied voltage into line current by power input.
Okay,
Power
that's
factor.
okay. Fine. 1 minute, I tell you. What you tell V into I into cos phi equal to P. Sorry, equal to P. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So now cos phi equal to P by Vi. So what you tell? The V is the output voltage, not the input voltage.
No, sir, I'm saying any factor or for power factor for this case, its factor should be output by input, like how much input ideally we are giving and how much actually practically we are having. So practical thing should be in the numerator and the ideal thing should be in the denominator.
Listen me. Cos phi here. Cos phi equal to P by Vi. P is here active power and Vi is the apparent power. Its unit is wattage and its unit is volt ampere. Okay.
You and sir are saying the same thing.
Okay, so it is the active power, it is the apparent power. I think there is some doubt. What doubt?
Sir, active power is basically output power, no? The output we are getting.
Yes.
And apparent power
Yes,
is the
sir.
ideal power that we are sending.
Yeah, that is the sending. Yes, V into I, that is the sending.
That's
Sure.
clear.
Okay. So now you can find out the power factor, you can find out the resistance. So you know the line current and you know the lamp voltage. Just you see the figure. What the line current, that current is flowing through the fluorescent lamp. Okay. So you can get from the table the line current as well as lamp voltage. So lamp voltage by line current is the resistance of the fluorescent lamp. So now lamp voltage by line current, it is 274 ohm. Now you can see that at 220 volt. So now here it is 274, and here the power factor 0.5. Here it is 0.498, but here the resistance is 387, and here it is 274. Why is it decreasing? Can you tell me? Any idea from your side? Why the lamp resistance decreasing when the voltage is increasing?
Lots of
ionization of the gas.
Yes. Please tell your name. Hello, please tell your name. Who already told the ionization is the main cause?
Sumit Karmakar.
You are which section?
Right.
I section. And another student told me also due to ionization. Tell me
Chintala
please.
Jagdish.
Please.
Chintala Jagdish.
Chintala Jagdish. Chintala.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So you are which section?
Sir, F section.
F section. Good. You are in my section. Fine.
Yes, sir.
Chintala. Good. And everybody are good, but here, okay, fine. Chintala is my actually I can teach the F section only. That's why I can give the appreciation to him. Okay, no problem. For different applied voltages, you can get the readings, and then you can find out the power factor, and you can find out the resistance. Then you can draw the graph, power versus input voltage. Okay, so now you can get the data points according to the results, and you have to draw the characteristics. Okay, so now here how many points you can get? 2, 4, 6. So according to the applied voltage, you can get the 6 data points. Now you have to draw the characteristic curves. So if you connect all the data points, basically it is not the straight line characteristics. you can get nonlinear or non-straight line characteristics. Okay, but if you know, so it is the straight line characteristics, then you have to draw the characteristic curves by using maximum data points. Okay, and the remaining data points are divided by the characteristic curves equally or nearly equally. So now here I can draw the characteristic curves in such a way that only one point is below the characteristic curves. Okay, so I cannot connect all the data points. So in that way, you have to draw the characteristic curves. So you have to know first the pattern of the characteristic curves, then only you can draw the characteristic curve by using these data points. Clear to everybody? Yes or not?
Yes, sir.
Then at what voltage, what the power consumption, you can easily understand. Fine. See, here also the same thing when you decrease the voltage. When you decrease the voltage, you can also record all the readings. Then you have to find out the power factor. You have to find out the resistance, right? And here also you have to draw the curve power versus input voltage. Same result, same characteristic curves. You can get it. Okay, by
when we are decreasing the voltage.
Yes, when you decrease in the voltage, what you see at 150 volt, the bulb glows off. After that, you cannot get any reading. So it can extend up to 150 volt. But in the previous case, what it is up to 180 to 230 volt. Start from 180, then 230, then for the decreasing case from 230 to 150, because 150 is the extinguishing voltage. Okay. Okay or not? Okay. So now you can get the characteristic curves here. So now I show you the characteristic curves of the fluorescent lamp, characteristic curves of the practical fluorescent lamp, and it is collected from the internet. You can see it. So here it is input voltage versus fluorescent lamp power, as well as it is input power. The input power is the violet color line, and the fluorescent power is here blue color line. Okay. So some loss will be there. So these, when you consider some losses, then obviously the input power will be more than the fluorescent lamp power. Clear or not? Hello?
Yes, sir, clear.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So same experiment you can perform for the fluorescent lamp with copper choke. So one difference you can follow. For the copper choke, some less loss will be there. That's why the characteristic curve will be lower than this characteristic curve with aluminum choke. You may get these things. And the striking voltage is very same as near about 180 volt, and the extinguishing voltage is also around 150 volts. It may be 146, 142, like that. Okay. So but here also you can get the similar characteristic curve, but somehow it is less than the aluminum characteristic curve, slightly less. Okay, is it okay or not?
And the gap between the pink and blue line will also be less for carbon.
So for the copper choke, suppose you can draw in that
copper choke, sorry. Okay, sir.
It may be because loss is less. That's why it is somehow below than the aluminum characteristic. Okay. Is clear to everybody or not? Hello.
Yes,
it's
sir.
clear, but it's too late and.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now
now it's time.
Okay, now I can finish within just you give the 15 minutes time. I can finish. Free. Okay, please.
Yes,
So
sir.
here the procedure is same, but here you see the connection is different. Already I told electronic choke has 2 inputs and 4 outputs. Just you see the connection diagram. Okay. Here also you put the voltmeter, here put the ammeter, here put the voltmeter, here put the wattmeter. Everything is same, but the connection of the fluorescent lamp with electronic choke is different. Now, what you observe here that is different from the electromagnetic choke. Here the striking voltage is less than the striking voltage of electromagnetic choke. It is near about 120 volt. So previously you can start what I mentioned for the electromagnetic choke. Then what you see, when you increase the voltage at a particular voltage, the fluorescent lamp glows, and this voltage is the striking voltage. It is near about 120 volt. And what you observe here, you cannot see the blinking. You cannot see the blinking, but in the previous case, you can see the blinking of the fluorescent lamp because the frequency is much higher than the previous case. So in the earlier case, the operating frequency is supply frequency, but here the operating frequency is in kilohertz range, near about 20 kilohertz to 80 kilohertz. You can think of how much frequency is increased by the electronic choke, by the inverter actually, by the inverter block of the electronic choke. So that much frequency is increased. So obviously, so there you cannot see any blinking of the fluorescent lamp. Okay, so now from here 120 volt to you can increase the voltage slowly and gradually up to rated voltage, and you can note down all the readings at a regular interval. Then after that you can decrease the voltage from rated voltage to that voltage where the bulb glows off, and at a regular interval you can note down all the readings. Then you can also draw the characteristic curve of power versus input voltage. So now here you can note down all the readings. Then it is started from 120 to 230, and you can note down all the readings. You find out the power factor and resistance. Similarly, you can draw the characteristic curves. Is it okay for everybody? Hello, is it okay for everybody?
Yes.
Now you can.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Okay, just 5 minutes to 10 minutes. Now you can decrease the voltage from rated voltage to the voltage where the bulb goes off. Here I observe that the extinguishing voltage is near 90 volts. So you can decrease the voltage from 230 volt to 90 volt. Then you can observe all the readings. Then you find out the power factor and resistance. Then you can draw the characteristic curves. So the characteristic curve pattern is very similar. That is near about straight line. So now you can perform the experiment on CFL lamp. The procedure is same what I mentioned before, but here you also observe that at a certain voltage the CFL lamp glows, and that voltage is also less. Okay, that voltage is also less, and you can observe in your domestic house. So when you put on the switch, the CFL lamp glows, but it is not in bright intensity. When the time elapses, then basically you can see the more brightness. Have you seen or not? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sir,
So now,
please repeat.
Yes, sir.
so when you put on the switch for the CFL lamp, the CFL lamp glows, but at that moment of starting, it is not glowing at full intensity. But when
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
okay, fine. So now what you see, the same procedure you can follow. What you do here, you can increase the voltage slightly, and then you see that at a certain voltage the lamp glows. Here also the starting voltage is less. It is near about 90 volt or 100 volt. Okay, and from these voltage you can increase the voltage up to rated voltage. Okay, and at a regular interval of voltage you can observe all the readings and record all the readings. Then from the rated voltage you can decrease the voltage to that voltage where the lamp glows off. It is also less. Okay, I can show you the reading, then you can easily understand what is the extinguishing voltage and what is the starting voltage. Okay, here it is started from 90 volt. So from 90 to 230 volt. Okay, so in this range you can increase the voltage. 90 is the striking voltage, 230 is the rated voltage, and you can observe all the readings. Then you can find out the power factor and the resistance. Similarly, you can decrease the voltage from rated voltage to the extinguishing voltage, and here you can see the extinguishing voltage is around 60 volts. So from 230 to 60 volt, you can decrease the voltage gradually, and you can note down all the readings, find out the power factor and resistance, and you also draw the characteristic curves. Is it okay for everybody?
Yes,
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now
Yes, sir.
you can see the practical CFL lamp characteristics. You see that it's a practical CFL lamp characteristics. It is started at near about 90 volt. So now when you increase the voltage, then basically power consumption is increased. Now you see the slope of the power curve. Now you can observe that at 220 volt, so it is the point, and now you can plot it on the
10.
so near about
10.
9 to 10 like
9.
okay.
Yes.
So 9 to around 9-10. So fine, you can get the power loss of 10 watt. Okay, fine, just 1 minute. So now it is near about 10 watt. Okay, but in the previous diagram, what you see here, just to add 220 volt. So what is the power loss? Near 40 watt.
It's around
Okay.
40,
They have
40.
40 watt, but what you see
Yes, sir.
in the CFL lamp 10 watt. So you can see the how much power consumption for the fluorescent lamp and for the CFL lamp. So much less for the CFL lamp than the fluorescent lamp. So obviously your monthly bill will be less if you use the CFL lamp. But
Less.
nowadays CFL lamp is obsolete due to several problems. Okay, nowadays LED lamp is coming. So now it is not introduced in our experiment. We hope we can introduce LED lamp quickly. Okay, then I can discuss about the LED lamp and what is the power consumption of the LED lamp. But now it is not there. So that's why I do not discuss about the LED lamp. Okay. So what are the conclusions? Hello? Conclusions. Can you give the conclusion by listening my discussion, listening my the lecture? What are the conclusions? Last finish.
Starting and existing voltage.
Obviously, starting and extinguishing voltage of fluorescent lamp with electronic choke is less. That means what? So sometimes you observe that. So when there is a low voltage, the fluorescent lamp with aluminum choke or copper choke is not glowing, but the fluorescent lamp with electronic choke is glowing. So obviously, you can prefer the fluorescent lamp with electronic choke. Is it okay or not? But what thing you can
Yes, sir.
observe? But electronic choke is generally costly. Okay, nowadays it is reduced. The cost is reduced. So fine, you can use the fluorescent lamp with electronic choke. Okay, and you also follow that when there is a drop in voltage, the fluorescent lamp with aluminum choke or copper choke is not glowing, but the fluorescent lamp with electronic choke is glowing. So obviously for the striking voltage and for the extinguishing voltage, you can easily understand that the fluorescent lamp with electronic choke is mostly preferable. Okay, and also you
So
know
is
that
power factor of electronic chalk is also higher than electromagnetic chalk.
exactly. So power factor high means the loss is less. When the loss is less means your monthly power bill also be less for the
Yes, sir.
electronic choke with fluorescent lamp with electronic choke. Okay, but one thing is that sometimes electronic choke is very much costly, and if you buy the electronic choke at low cost, then basically it does not last for a long time. And another thing is that
They will be cheap.
that is a problem. Okay, so if you want to make it the fluorescent lamp long lasting, then you can go for the good company made electronics lamp, electronic choke. So that is costly basically. So initial cost is high. So if it lasts long, then basically if you calculate the total cost, monthly cost for several years plus the initial cost, then you can think that, then you can understand that the overall cost may be less for the electronic choke. Okay, is it clear to everybody? So now
Yes.
I
Yes,
can
sir.
Yes, sir.
conclude these things already. So now I am closing
Sir,
the
any
meeting
specific reason of difference in the reading of starting and extinguishing voltage? Because
because what?
means it should stop blowing at a specific voltage, but starting and extinguishing voltage is different.
What thing? Just good question. So why the starting voltage is a 180 volt and why extinguishing voltage is 150 volt? Is it okay or not?
Yes, sir, exactly.
That is the question. So basically, so more power will be required to ionize. That means when it is in gaseous state, to ionize it, more power will be required, more voltage will be required. But when it is in ionization state, so when it comes from ionization state to the gaseous state, so only less voltage will be required. So less power will be required. So basically, for the first case, the more voltage will be required because you have to ionize from gaseous state. Okay, so it takes more power or it takes more voltage for that. So basically what thing is there?
Yeah.
So you have to ionize
Okay,
this
sir, I
thing.
got
Okay, so electron jumps from lower orbit to higher orbit, so more energy is there, so you can go for the electronic configuration, then you can understand that easily. So basically it jumps from the lower orbit to higher orbit, so it takes more energy. Now when for the higher orbit to lower orbit, so it takes less energy. Okay, what I understand that I
Yes, sir.
discussed.
Okay.
Okay, and if I am not correct, okay, you can go through the website, you can go through the books, many books, and if you get any idea which is not discussed here, or if I am wrong in some conception, so you can mail me, or you can just call me and tell me about the problems or about the
Yes.
another illustrations. I'll be happy for
Can
that.
we
I'll not be angry. I'll be very much pleased with you. So if you give another information to me by mailing me or by phone, you can tell me. Okay, I'll be very much happy for you. Okay.
Sir, we don't know.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Thank you so much. Already 9:50. Okay. Now I'm
Sir,
closing the meeting.
can I leave now, sir?
Okay, you can leave now. Okay.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank you, sir. Good night, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Good
Sir,
night.
can
Good
we
night,
see?
sir.
Good night.
Sir, can
Thank
we
you,
see
sir.
this?
Thank
Thank
you.
you, sir.